Here's what no one is talking about, and it could be costing your practice thousands every month. I'm not talking about your marketing budget. I'm not talking about your payroll. I'm not talking about the economy. I'm talking about something that happens every single day inside med spas and aesthetic clinics. A potential patient finally decides to call. No one answers. They hang up and call someone else. One missed call, one missed consultation, one missed opportunity to begin what could have been a long term patient relationship. And here's the scary part: most practice owners never even know it even happened. So, today we're talking about why that happens, why simply hiring another employee isn't always the answer, and how AI is helping practices solve this problem in an entirely different way. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you're here. As you're joining in the chat, let me know where you're turning in from. And if you're interested in practical AI solutions to help grow your medical spa and aesthetic practice, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future live streams and tips. So, welcome to AI Novolume. I'm Lakeisha Brooks, founder of AI Novolume. I help medical spas and aesthetic clinics capture more patient opportunities, streamline operations, and grow their practices through strategic AI implementation, including AI receptionists, intelligent automations, and AI powered workflows. So, if you're joining me, welcome. And also if you're watching the replay, welcome as well. Thank you for choosing to spend part of your day with me. So, whether you've been following AI for years or you're just starting to explore what it can do for your business, my goal is very simple: to make AI very practical. Because here at AI Novolume, we don't chase shiny technology, but we do focus on AI that solves real business problems, AI that supports your team, AI that improves the patient experience, and AI that helps your practice grow without sacrificing the personal touch your patients expect. Because I believe AI shouldn't replace great people, but it should help great people do their best work. That's what this channel is all about. That's why I'm here. People often ask me, why medical spas? It's actually a great question because before founding AI Novolume, I spent more than 12 years working in pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical companies. And during that time, I learned something that completely changed the way that I look at business. In highly regulated industries, you don't solve every problem by hiring more people. You solve problems by improving systems. You study workflows. You identify those bottlenecks and you remove unnecessary steps. You build processes that are consistent, efficient, and scalable because when your systems improve, everything else improves. When I began learning about AI, something really clicked with me. I realized AI wasn't just another technology trend. Nope, it's here to stay. It was one of the most powerful business tools I'd ever seen, and not because it replaces people, but because it removes repetitive work. It answers routine questions, it speeds up communication, it helps businesses become more responsive, and most importantly, it gives people more time to focus on things only people can do: building relationships, creating that trust, delivering exceptional service. Then I started looking at medical spas and aesthetic clinics. And I realized something. Even though they're completely different industries, the operational challenges were surprisingly very familiar and similar. Patients expect immediate responses. Staff members wear multiple hats. Phones ring constantly. Appointments change. Leads need a follow up. Questions come in all day. Meanwhile, your team is doing everything they can just to keep up. That's not because they're not working hard, but it's because today's businesses are asking people to do more than ever before. And that's why I chose this niche, because I truly believe AI can make one of the biggest impacts right here, not by replacing your front desk, not by removing the human experience, but by strengthening it. And that's exactly what AI Novolume exists to do. So, today's promise, here's my promise for you today. By the end of today's conversation, I don't necessarily expect you to walk away convinced that you need an AI receptionist, which I just love. That's like one of my favorite AI tools. That's not my goal though. So, my goal is much simpler. I want you to start asking a different question. Instead of asking, do I need another employee? I want you to ask, is there a better way to support the amazing team I already have? Because once you start asking better questions, you start discovering better solutions. And sometimes those solutions involved AI. Sometimes they involve automation, and sometimes they involve improving a workflow. But they almost always begin with looking at the system, not just the symptom. So let's talk about one of the biggest symptoms I see: missed calls. The hidden cost of one missed call. So let's imagine it's a typical Wednesday afternoon. Your receptionist area is very busy. One patient is checking out, another has just arrived early, a provider needs assistance, a delivery driver walks in, someone needs to update their paperwork, the phone rings. At almost the exact same moment, another line rings. Then a text message comes in, an online inquiry appears, an email notification pops up. I'm exhausted just imagining all of this. Now, let me ask you something. Who do you think your receptionist helps first? There isn't a perfect answer because every one of those situations feels different. And that's exactly the challenge, right? The problem isn't that your team doesn't care. The problem isn't that your receptionist isn't talented either. The problem is that we've created an environment where one person is expected to be in five places at once. No matter how incredible someone is, that's just impossible. Eventually, something has to wait. And far too often, it's the phone. Now, here's why that's such a big deal. When someone calls your practice, they're not just calling for information, they're raising their hand. They're saying, I'm interested, I'm ready. I want to learn more. Maybe they're finally ready to book that Botox appointment. Maybe they've been researching laser treatments for months. Maybe a friend recommended your practice. Maybe they saw one of your Instagram videos. However, they found you. Getting them to make that phone call was not easy. You invested time, you invested money, you built a brand, you earned enough trust for them to reach out. And then the phone just keeps ringing. That's where AI is changing the conversation after all of that, right? AI doesn't replace your front desk, it protects your opportunities. And this is where I think AI has been totally misunderstood. When people hear the words artificial intelligence, many immediately think AI is coming to replace jobs, or I don't want a robot talking to my patients. Trust me, I understand those concerns. And in fact, I had questions myself when I first started exploring AI. But the more I learned, the more I realized something. The conversation shouldn't be, how do we replace people? The conversation should be, how do we better support the people we already have? That's a completely different mindset. And it's the mindset I bring to every client I work with because here's what I know. Your receptionist wasn't hired just to answer the phone. They were hired because they know how to welcome patients. They build those relationships. They calm nervous first time patients. They solve problems. They recognize familiar faces. They make people feel valued and sometimes overvalued. Those are human skills and they matter. AI cannot replace genuine empathy. Cannot replace compassion. It cannot replace the smile someone receives when they walk into your practice. And honestly, I don't want it to. But there are a plenty of repetitive tasks that don't require your team's unique talents. Answering the same questions 20 times a day, explaining what you're where you're located, answering whether financing is available, scheduling consultations, rescheduling appointments, taking after hour inquiries, collecting basic information. Those are exactly the kinds of repetitive tasks AI can help with. Not because people aren't capable of doing them, but because people have much more valuable things to do. Imagine your receptionist isn't interrupted every 2 to 3 minutes by another phone ringing. Imagine they can fully stay engaged with the patient standing right in front of them. Imagine patients calling after business hours, still receiving an immediate response instead of voicemail. Imagine someone calling during lunch doesn't immediately move on to another provider because nobody answered. That's what an AI receptionist can do, not replace your front desk, but protect the opportunities your front desk simply can't get to fast enough. And that's a huge difference. So, the costs that you never see. Now, let's talk about something that most practice owners never measure: lost opportunities. Think about your own behavior as a customer. When was the last time you called a business? They didn't answer, and you immediately thought, that's okay. I'll wait 3 days for them to call me back. Probably never. Most of us don't do that anymore. We live in a world where people expect immediate responses. If Amazon can answer instantly, if Uber responds instantly, if restaurants confirm reservations instantly, patients begin expecting that same level of responsiveness from healthcare providers and aesthetic practices, not because they're impatient, but because that's become their normal experience. So if your practice doesn't respond, someone else probably and most likely will. Here's what's interesting though: the practice that wins that patient isn't always the one with the best injector, or the nicest office, or even the best pricing. Sometimes they simply answered first. Now, just think about that. Sometimes the difference between gaining a new patient or losing one isn't clinical expertise at all. It's simply response time. That's why I believe responsiveness has become one of the most important competitive advantages a practice can have. And AI makes that possible in ways that simply weren't available just a few years ago. Now, AI is more than an AI receptionist, trust me. Now, because today's topic is missed calls, we've spent a lot of time talking about AI receptionists, but I want to make something very clear with you. AI is so much bigger than answering the phone. It's helping businesses write follow up emails, it's helping teams communicate faster, it's helping summarize meetings, it's helping automate repetitive administrative work. It's helping create training materials. It's helping with scheduling. It's helping organize internal knowledge. It's helping teams spend less time buried in administrative work and more time focused on people. And an AI receptionist is simply one example. As you can tell, that's my favorite because I keep smiling every time I think about it. It's often where practices start because that's the immediate impact that they see. But it's only a piece of a puzzle that's part of a much, much bigger picture. So when I work with clients through AI Novolume, I'm not looking for one AI tool, I'm looking at the entire patient journey. Where are delays happening? Where are opportunities being missed? Where is staff spending time on repetitive work? Where can AI support, not replace the team? Because every practice is different, of course. There's no magic software, there's no one size fits all solution. The goal isn't adding technology, the goal is improving the way your business operates. And sometimes the smallest improvements create the biggest results. So now we've answered one important question. Why isn't hiring more people always the solution? So, next, let's talk about what happens when you begin thinking like a systems leader instead of simply reacting to daily problems, because that's where real transformation begins. Think like a systems leader. When I talk about systems, I'm not talking about making your practice feel cold or impersonal. Of course not. Actually, it's the exact opposite. Better systems create better human experiences. And let me explain to you exactly what I mean by that. Imagine you walk into your favorite restaurant. The hostess greets you by name. Your table is ready. Your server remembers your favorite drink. The food arrives on time. Everything feels effortless. Most people think, wow, they have amazing employees. And maybe they do. But here's what most people don't see. Behind that experience are great systems, and everyone knows their role. Information flows smoothly. Technology supports the staff needed of excuse me, staff instead of slowing them down. The customer experiences the result, not the system. Medical spas are exactly the same. Patients don't walk in thinking, oh, I hope their scheduling workflow is optimized. They don't think, oh, I wonder what CRM they use. And they simply ask themselves one question: how did this experience make me feel? Did someone answer when I called? Was scheduling easy? Did I have to repeat myself? Did someone follow up? Did I feel valued? Every one of those moments matters, and every one of those moments can be strengthened with better systems. That's why I believe AI isn't really about technology, it's about experiences and that end to end experience. Technology just happens to be one of the tools that help us create it. What makes AI so different? Now, you might be wondering, couldn't we just hire another receptionist? Maybe. Sometimes that's absolutely the right answer. But let's compare the two just for a moment. Another employee is wonderful. They bring personality, compassion, energy, ideas, but they're also human. They need breaks. They need to take lunch. They need vacation. They need sleep. And they can only answer one call at a time. AI doesn't replace that person, but AI fills in the gaps. Think of it as another member of your team that's available 24 hours a day. Now, if someone calls after hours, AI answers. If someone has a simple question, AI responds immediately. If AI wants to schedule a consultation, AI can begin that process and book the appointments for you. Meanwhile, your staff is free to focus on the patients already in front of them. That's why I don't like describing AI as automation. I prefer thinking of it as support. It's another layer of service, another layer of responsiveness, another way to protect your opportunities that might otherwise be lost. And in today's world, responsiveness matters. People don't compare your practice only to other medical spas anymore. They compare you to every great customer experience they've ever had. That's a higher standard than ever before. And so, fortunately, AI gives practices the opportunity to meet that standard. Why this matters to me personally, people sometimes ask me, Lakeisha, why are you so passionate about this? Because the answer is simple. I've spent my career watching incredible people work incredibly hard, including myself, whether it was pharmaceutical companies, biopharmaceutical companies, or now medical spas. One thing has always remained true: people want to do great work. They don't want to wake up hoping to miss calls. They don't want to wake up hoping patients become frustrated. They don't want to wake up hoping opportunities are lost. Most teams are simply overwhelmed. That's why I don't see AI as replacing people. I see it as respecting people, respecting their time, respecting their energy, respecting their expertise, allowing them to focus on the work only they can do. And that's the future I want to help create. Not businesses with fewer people, but businesses where people have better tools. And I truly believe people will definitely have those better tools, but I believe that medical spas are one of the industries that can benefit the most from this shift. So, what should you do next? I'm going to leave you with three questions. I encourage every practice owner to ask themselves, not next month, not next year, but this week. Three questions every medical spa owner should ask. So, these questions aren't for me, but they are for you. Questions I encourage every medical spa owner to honestly think about this week, such as, how many opportunities am I actually missing that I don't even know I'm missing? Not every missed opportunity leaves a voicemail. Not every potential patient sends an email. Not everyone fills out your content form. Sometimes they simply move on. And because they never told you they called, you never know they were even there. Now, think about that. How many people found your website, visited your social media, saw one of your ads, finally decided to call, and never became a patient because no one answered? You'll probably never know, but it's worth asking. Question number two, is my staff overwhelmed or are my systems overwhelmed? Those are not the same thing. Your team may be doing an incredible job. In fact, I'm willing to bet that they are. Most front desk teams I meet are hardworking, dedicated professionals who genuinely care about patients. But even the best people struggle when the systems around them aren't designed to support them. Sometimes the answer isn't about people to work harder. Sometimes it's giving them better tools. Question number three, if AI handled the repetitive work, what could my team accomplish instead? And imagine your receptionist spending less time answering the same questions over and over. Imagine fewer interruptions. Imagine more meaningful conversations with patients. Imagine providers spending less time tracking down information. Imagine your staff ending the day feeling accomplished instead of exhausted. That's the opportunity AI creates, not because AI is replacing anyone, but because AI gives your team more time to do what they do best. Building those relationships, creating that trust, and delivering exceptional care. So, my hope for you today is if this is the only video you ever watch from me, I hope that you'll remember one thing. AI isn't something to fear, and it's not something to ignore. It's simply another business tool, just like the email once was, just like websites once were, just like online scheduling once was. Every major advancement in business has asked the same question. Will this make us less personal? And over time, the businesses that use technology wisely didn't become less personal. They became more responsive, more efficient, more available, more consistent. That's exactly how I believe AI should be used, not to replace people, but to evaluate the people who make your business special. That's the future I want for this industry. And that's why I started AI Novolume. If today's conversation resonated with you in any way, if you've been wondering whether AI could help your practice, or maybe you're simply curious about where to begin, I would love to have a conversation with you. At AI Novolume, I don't believe in forcing businesses into one solution. Every practice is different. Every team is different. Every workflow is different. That's why every engagement begins with understanding your goals, your challenges, and your vision for your practice. Together, we'll identify where AI can have the greatest impact, from AI receptionists and intelligent automations to workflow improvements that help your team operate more efficiently while creating an exceptional patient experience. If that sounds like something you'd like to explore, please visit www.ainovolume.com/start and schedule your AI strategy call. We'll spend time talking about your practice, your goals, your biggest opportunities, and whether AI is the right fit for your business. No pressure. No complicated technical conversations, just a practical discussion about what's possible. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And if you made it this far, you are a soldier. I know you're busy, and I truly appreciate you choosing to be here. If you found today's conversation valuable, I'd love for you to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you know another medical spa owner, aesthetic clinic, or practice manager who could benefit from this conversation, please share this episode with them. Every week here on AI Novolume, we'll explore practical AI strategies, real world business solutions, and innovate ways to help medical spas and aesthetic clinics grow with confidence. Until next time, be kind, work smarter, serve patients better, and grow with AI. I'm Lakeisha Brooks, founder of AI Novolume. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.